Welcome back to the channel, folks. It's been a couple weeks since we've done anything. We have been very, very busy, mostly buying in the last month. I've attended, I think, 3 auctions since October 1st, live auctions. The last 2 were both last week, and every November, a local auction company has their biggest auction of the year, and it's usually a 2-day event, and that took place November 1st and November 6th in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Prior to that, we had an auction way up in the northeast part of Maine, and we've had several private purchases from local people that have made connections through the website or some other internet means. And of course, I work a day job, so it's been a very busy last 6 weeks, mostly buying, not a whole lot of selling. And I thought I would just share a few of the highlights from what have been picked up in the last 6 or 7 weeks. Honestly don't even know where to begin. I guess this is a lot of the stuff was world coins. These are Canadian bank rolls. Nothing super special, but they were pretty much face value, so hard to pass the opportunity of getting these at face value. See if we can get it in focus. Here we go. A little better. 1970 Brinks Pennie roll, Canadian. $2 nickel roll from Toronto. Clearly that has been around the block and back a few times. Again, nothing of extreme value, and I'm sorry for the bad lighting. There was no room to set up except for in this area, and the lighting down here is just horrendous. Another roll of nickels. Saint Gaudens, very nice, huh? You know, again, 1970, not really worth anything. Not much more than face value, but cool factor. There were not a lot of rolls, but the ones that did sell, I did manage to win most of them, if not all of them. The people that go to these auctions do not typically bid strong on these. So some of them, including a 1983 quarter roll, which is not pictured here, which has a gray sheet of $5.50. Nobody would even meet the auctioneer's opening bid, and he just basically said, somebody throw a number at me. I threw $1.50 and he took it. So these are all some of the rolls. You can see the deep toning on those nickels. 2 1938 rolls. 1946 and 46S, a 47S partial. A lot of partial rolls. 48D, 48S, so all those went fairly cheap. I know a lot of you probably watch Ben the Coin Geek, and he had a 22 plain cent in an annex photo slab not too long ago. Here's another one. This one has the weak reverse. I believe he had the strong. Lucky him. Can only bid on what they have. This one's a Generation 4 photo slab, which is a whole lot scarcer than the ones we typically see, which the ones I showed last time, Generation 10. 10A, B, C, D, or 10A, B, C. There's 2 or 3 of them at least. But the Generation 4 is pretty rare, and the lighting is so bad here. I do agree with the grade. It might be a grade lower, might be a VG10, but it is the weak reverse. We're not going to get any kind of cooperation from this setup. Try as I might. It's going through the slab on top. Oh, there we got a little better. But we got the no mint mark. We've got the full rim. You know, it's right on the cusp of a fine 12. The weak reverse probably won't show well here again. Yeah, the lighting is just really awful. And it's stapled to the slab. But you can see the lettering is weak, hence the name. Wheat stalks are weak. The T in states, E and S after the state, S-T-A-T. The E and the S to the right, pretty much blown away. Last couple letters in America, one away. So there's your weak reverse. But that one was bid mainly for the rarity of the photo slab more than anything. There was countless albums, including a lot of Walk in Liberty albums that I've already taken a lot out, put some up for sale, sold some. There were pages and pages of them, some better than others, but there was a handful of 1916, 16D, 16S, 19 PD and S. There was a few very fine or better pre-1921. There were a handful of 21 PD and S. And then, you know, some of the later ones came along with it. You can see underneath 1916S, 1916. So some of the other slabs that came, I mean, some of the other albums that were sold out. There was a lot of world, a lot of Canadian, which we'll get to. There was this sheet of large cents, mostly fines, some very fines, a couple XFs. Not going to really be able to see them very well in the lighting here, but just give you an idea of what was obtained. This was kind of a throw-in with the 2-cent pieces that are coming. Just a bunch of early date, mostly mint mark Lincoln cents, a few 24Ds, 1909 VDB. Nothing overwhelming in that sheet. Same here, a bunch of 2-cent pieces. But these went really, really cheap. Like, I would have no intention of bidding on any of this stuff. But when nobody else did, and the opening bid continued to get reduced, you just kind of, at some point, say, screw it. You want to sell it for 20 bucks, I'll take it. And it's hard to see it through the plastic and through the 2x2. But there's some pretty nice original coins in these. And I, again, am no specialist when it comes to 3-cent pieces, nickel or silver. I'm going to get into some better stuff. This half dime. Does have a rim issue. There's a lot of detail there for that particular coin. We have another one. We have a bunch of them, really. Rim issues. But not often to find them with close to XF detail. Too bad for the rims. Another 1830, somewhere in that fine to very fine range. Probably fine. Maybe not quite even fine, but this one doesn't have the rim problem. We're kind of working our way to the better stuff as we move forward here. And there'll be a lot better stuff coming if you stick around. Get this into focus, that would be better. Hard to see it through the plastic. Let's see if I can take some of these out. Nothing special there, just an 1853 dime. This one's a little better. Pretty close to AU. The original owner has it as AU. Another rim nick down the bottom there. Gouge. 1859 is a better date. Tough date, actually. We have a 65S. He's got it as a VF and seems to be about right. Wish we could get a better shot of it. Let me try taking it out of the plastic. See if it makes that much of a difference. Probably will. I would probably say it's more of a fine. Previous owner had it listed as VF. A lot is determined by the reverse on these. I would say it's probably closer to a fine. But the 65S is another one of those better date. And we get into some cap bust. More rim issues. That one looks pretty nice though. That's a Buffalo nickel. 1814, 1820. These all went insanely cheap. Like the whole sheet was, I think, $60, $80 or so with the buyer's premium. There was some other cap bus dimes and half dimes on another sheet. It was this sheet had a couple of very worn 32 D&S quarters, and then a bunch of standing liberties. Mostly later dates. There are some earlier dates. And there's a few 1917 type ones on another location. So that's some of those. Now on the albums, there's quite a few of them. And a lot of these were really nice. Canadian dollar album back in 1948, which of course is the key date. A little bit beat up. Some of them are really nice, some of them are toned. The album is complete. And is complete set. Newfoundland $50. A lot of low mintages under 50,000. under 30,000. That went really cheap. And then the $50 post 1937. Complete set. I mean, you're not going to get anywhere near that. But I think the whole set went for just a couple hundred. The whole album complete. All these albums are complete, actually. Some really nice toning on some of them. There's a bag of, I have bags of Canadian dimes, quarters, 20-cent pieces, nickels. Canadian large cents. Pretty cool. That's the late date Canadian dimes, but we do have the early ones. Not a complete set. Partial set. Another Canadian dime album. This one. Like that one, partial. We have another large set album. The brown one. Dansko is the best of them all, if I remember correctly. I wish the lighting was better. It's hard to see copper, hard to film copper anyways, but actually the quality on a lot of those is very nice. You'd never know it from this, but so there was a lot of Canadian, obviously. There was a lot of old slabs. You can see the rattlers. Let me get some room here. A lot of Accugrade slabs, including a couple of pretty surprising ones. There's some green holders. Nothing overly special. International Numismatic Grading Service. Very similar to the Accugrade slab and often can be confused with it. It's the same exact setup. But this previous collector had a lot of this. Collector had a lot of this stuff in Accugrade slabs. Or International IGS, International Grading Service slab. The one that I was most astonished with is this very nice 1927 Saint. You know, whether it would grade 65 in another holder. I'm no professional Saint Gaudens grader, but A365C. So A3 dollar cleaned. You know, that probably makes sense. 65C. So not proof-like, which shouldn't be. Flat, of course, but how would it get 65 and cleaned is a mystery to me if I'm even reading that right. Regardless, not often to find an Accugrade coin. Accugrade graded Saint Gaudens, I should say. This one is graded by INS, which is if you remember correctly, all those Morgan dollars, this is the parent company or previous spin-off or sister company, I'm sorry, of Heritage Auctions in Dallas. I mean, it's hard to argue with the dimple, even though we know PCGS and NGC are almost never give them out anymore. We do have the mirrors on both sides, and it's pretty darn close. And it doesn't appear to be cleaned at all, so this one would be interesting. Leave it in this holder for the time being. There's quite a few of these though. And this one they split grade, 65, 66 reverse dimple. Don't know. That reverse is killer. Breathtaking. Gorgeous. Little gouge in front of the nose. But other than that, it's certainly within the realm of a 65 grade. Interesting to see what would happen if they were sent in, right? This one, I don't know. I don't even know if it's PL, let alone dimple. Hard to tell through the foggy plastic. Still a nice coin. Some amazing toning on these. Alright, so there's the last two were Accugrade, by the way. Not to be confused with the INS. Alright, so the last two, the Colombians, were Accugrade. The rest were INS. There were 5 piece dollar sets that came in these white boxes. 5 coins. 1922 through 26, as common as the day is long. But you don't get the toning that you see this like this on piece dollars ever. Now, we know they've sat in this box for the better part of the last 60 years. PCGS doesn't know that. It'll be interesting to see if and how they graded them. They're all pretty similar. For the sake of time, we will move on. These are 3 E-date cents. Take it out. I'm not going to see it in there. Any guesses? Obviously surface damage, we knew that going in. 1909, there's the S, and that's a correct mint mark. I believe it's position 3. I got to give a lot of credit to the auctioneer. It's Steve Schofield. He's a very accomplished numismatist in his own right. He does a lot of the grading of the raw stuff, and more times than not, I agree with what he grades. And obviously, you know, he guarantees the authenticity, and it does all line up. You can see the VDB, or the V of the VDB. The lighting is just terrible. I don't know if this is going to help. Hard to see the rest of it. And then we move on to the next one, which is a 1914D. There was a lot of stuff I didn't win. A lot of full sets of Morgans, or you know, 70, 80 coin sets with 1894, 94S, 93cc, really nice coins. This one is probably a fine. A little bit of corrosion. 14D, everything checks out on this one. So that one's a pretty decent coin. And then the last one is not a Lincoln cent. It's a key date Indian cent. the key date Indian cent. And most of you know what that is. Another one that's got some surface issues, corrosion. The 3 coins were auctioned together on the 1877 for authenticity. For authenticating, I mean, you always want to look at the N in one to be weak. That weakness in the second N as well, but mostly the top N, is one of the big tip-offs to an 1877 cent being genuine or not. It's almost always weak. There's only one reverse die known. And if it's not weak, it's a definite red flag. So those 3 came together. Those 3 went fairly cheap. We had a lot of these. That went a reasonable number. Nice original coin, 1836, bust half, Overton 107, Overton variety being the die marriages for these. We have an 1817, Overton 106, a little bit earlier date, a little bit of a better date. R2, I guess it's not super rare by any stretch. Nice original coin in that very good defined range. And then, last but not least on this pack, this 1834. Another nice original coin. Let's see, we have these 4. So, the first one, this is 1856. I think it's an O. Yeah, 1856 O half dollar. Let's take it out. Nice original coin, about a fine to very fine. Probably at the beginning of the very fine stage, based on everything that's there. And then we have another seated half, 1876. Nice original coin, probably a solid VF. And then the other 2 are early, better date, semi-key date walkers. First one is this crusty. $1918. I thought it was an S, but I don't see the S. There it is. The mint mark is right down there, right in front of the pen. Right there. That's where the mint mark on these are. So this one is about a VF. Very original. And then the other coin is a much tougher date. This is one of the hardest ones to find unclean, the 1919D. It's the second one that I got in similar condition. I got another one. It's put away. This one's probably like a fine 15. We got those 4. Another nice walker with this rose violet toning. A lot of reflectivity there, huh? Well, you know why that is, right? This isn't just a walker. I'll try to be very careful with how I take it out. Should be wearing gloves for this one. It's a proof. It's a beauty. Again, the lighting is not good here. But trust me when I tell you, the toning is beautiful. It's violet. And there's no hairlines or anything that would indicate that it wouldn't straight grade from what I can tell. Now what they see and what I see aren't necessarily the same thing. We got a handful of fine to very fine barbers. Nothing special in terms of the dates. 11S. Of course, the mint marker's on the reverse under the tail. That one's probably just barely a fine. Another one that's probably a fine 15. We have another group of these upstairs, including a 1904S dime, 1901S dime, 1901S half. Here's an 090, which is a kind of a key date, semi-key date, if nothing else. Tough coin to find in a certified fine to very fine, so it'll be interesting to see how that one grades. We got a boatload of Morgans. We've got a roll of 79S, well, that's a roll of 14, and then 6 separate ones. I haven't even looked through them all yet to see if there's a reverse of 78 in there. I looked through them quickly, and a lot of these have some PL qualities to them. I'm not going to take the whole roll apart for sake of time, but there's some nice ones there. Some of the stuff I haven't shown. And, we have this Numismatic Certification Institute type thing. Tangible Assets Management. These all went together as one item. We got a bunch of these. So these need to be inspected a little bit closer. We don't have time here. But last time we ran into these, the grading was pretty accurate by today's standards. Things were a lot stricter in the late 70s, early 80s, but we have a bunch of these. Stack of them. It's like 7 or 8 more of them. So again, for the sake of time, we will not go into all of those. We got a bunch of China Pandas in government plastic, early ones. We actually have a sheet of these, unopened, uncut. If I can find them. We also have this. And if you're wondering about what this is, it's heavy, first of all. It's a 1995 kilo Kookaburra. Kilo is 32 troy ounces. So yes, it's quite heavy. We have a bunch of lunar series. Here are the dragons in there. We have some proof. Pandas. We have Isle of Man in here. We have other stuff. Let's see. Run through the Canadian. We have this box. These are, oh, we have to make some room here. 1 second while I make a little bit of room for these. And to be honest, there's still so much more. We're running out of time. I'm just trying to keep this to under a half hour. And as always, I fail when it comes to that. Just make a little bit of room here for this. Probably be the last thing I show you. Again, this a lot more of this stuff, a lot more rolls. Some of these Morgans will need to be looked at a lot closer. I wish I could show you. My favorite's always the rolls, as you guys know, but for sake of time, I just can't really dump them all out and look at the coins, but I've looked through handfuls of them. There was a roll of dimes that was sold as a 1956 roll, and the top 4 were. The bottom 46 were Mercury BU dimes. They were mixed dates from 1940 to 1945, but I paid $96 for the roll and ended up with 80% of a roll of Mercury dime BUs. So here we have something you don't see every day. And it's an uncut sheet, 2 sheets really, of 1991 Pandas. And I know that people would be ecstatic to get the uncut sheet. There's the second one. So there's 2 of those, and again, there's a lot more. So there's more rolls too. There's another 5 rolls of Franklin BU half dollars, all 1960s, and there's a piece dollar roll. I want to say it's a 22 or a 23 roll. I can't remember right now. Yeah, 23. So nothing special, but. And again, there's a lot more upstairs, so I will be going into more specific detail on different items as I go through it, and I will be listing some stuff for sale on samscoinsandheavymetal.com as well as on eBay under the same name. If there's anything that you see that you might be interested in, feel free to email us or send us a comment, leave a comment on this video. You can email us at samscoinsandheavymetal@gmail.com. You can look for things to be listed on eBay over the coming weeks. And again, if there's anything that you have a question on, anything you have a comment on, feel free to leave those comments in the chat, and or in the comments, I should say. And if you enjoyed the video, please don't be afraid to leave a like, subscribe if you'd like, and we appreciate you sticking with us this long for those who did. Sorry that I'm kind of all over the place, but it was kind of done on a wing and a prayer. It's been a while since I've done a video, so hope you all have a great rest of your weekend. Talk to you later. There was also 12 Remington bullet knives. There are only 8 here, I believe. 3 are upstairs, 1 has been sold. But these 8 hammered at $150 or $180 with the buyer's premium, or 12 of them for $180, so $15 each. And I know that they sell for usually no less than $40. So if you're a knife enthusiast, I can tell you the model number of each and every one of these. Obviously, they all have the original box. They all have the certificate of insurance, certificate of authenticity inside. They're all original, never been sharpened, never been used at all. The blades are all in original. Again, never been sharpened. They've been oiled, but never been used. So these all range from mid-1980s through the early 2000s. And they're technically replica bullet knives. That's what they're really. Replica meaning, the originals are from like the 1940s. But Remington put out what they call reproductions, replicas, but they're really original, if you will. If you don't understand what that means, then you'll have to, if you look at the certificate, one of the things it says is limited edition R4243 camp bullet knife, places you blah, 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 blah. Remington manufacture quality firearms, knife collectors, hand honed made of 440 stainless steel, like all Remington products, blah, 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 blah. All right, well, in here they usually tell you it's a replica, but it's a replica of the model that was made back in the 40s, but it's not a replica, if that makes any sense. Knife collectors know what I'm saying. But anyways, 8 of those on top of everything else that went for next to nothing, like almost everything else. It leads you to believe, is the market softening? Is the economy impact being felt? Are we seeing a correction? Because during the pandemic, we saw prices for a lot of common date Morgan dollars going for MS-65 money when they were MS-60, or 63 maybe even at their best. So interesting to hear your thoughts on that. A lot of dealers I hear say their business has never been better, but I'm not seeing that. What about you guys? I think it's been soft. I think the prices have come down. I think the interest has cooled off. I think the wars have had an impact, and I think the economy has had an impact. And I think there's just an overall correction in place. So interesting to hear your thoughts on that. Thanks again. Over and out. Like, comment, subscribe. samscoinsandheavymetal.com. samscoinsandheavymetal@gmail.com. Have a good weekend.